Oh, no mics! Gravity, we can't hear us. Sign language. Oh no, I don't know sign language. Yes, mimery.
Hello.
I can
Hello.
sign the alphabet. Does that count?
Oh, wait. Are what? There's sound now? Okay. Woo!
Excellent.
Okay. Well, we'll just start over from the top. Welcome back, everyone. Hi, I'm Kate Shura. You probably don't recognize me now that my hair is short. And we're back. We're here now with three wonderful. Oops, sorry, bumped the mic. Three wonderful members of Take This. Why don't you all introduce yourself? We'll start with Dr. B.
Okay. Hi everybody. I am Raphael Boccamazzo, Doctor of Clinical Psychology. Everybody just calls me Dr. B because my name's long and Italian and people don't want the hassle. But I am the clinical director of Take This, and I am really happy to be back here for the second day, appearing with you wonderful group of people who have so far raised $14,000. We're so close to $14,000 to support Take This's mental health mission, and I'm so happy about it. Hi.
Kelly?
Oh, okay. Hello, my name is Dr. Kelli Dunlap. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist practicing in Maryland. I am the community manager for Take This, and in my off time, I am a game designer and I teach game design at American University. And I'm also happy to be back for my second day here. I was on previously talking about the Take This Ambassador program, which is our program for streamers who share our passion for destigmatizing mental health and increasing mental health support throughout the game community from makers to players.
Great, thank you. And last, Rachel.
Hi, I'm Dr. Rachel Kowert. I'm the research director of Take This. I am a research psychologist. I have been studying games and gamers for more than 10 years. I was here the other night talking about Final Fantasy. And yeah, thank you for having me back again. And almost $14,000. That's incredible. It's incredible.
I'm so excited. Mostly, I'm so excited at the prospect of possibly having Pink Floyd.
Oh, yeah. Come on, Dr. B, we're ready for your costume. Pink Floyd. Yes.
Pink Floyd. Oh, man, I can't even word it. It's okay.
It's fine.
Tell me about how you feel like another brick in the wall.
Yeah, it's just like, I can't words, but it's okay. So we're here today to talk to you all about self-care and supporting your friends and your family. Not particularly now, but also particularly now with everything going on. So, let's start off with the elephant in the room, COVID-19. And we were talking before when we were talking about possible topics for this pandemic fatigue.
Yeah, I'm tired. Yep. Can confirm.
Yep.
Yeah. So COVID, it's a thing. It's a
thing.
It's a
thing.
It's a lot for everyone, on top of other things that are also happening in the world today. And especially because it's been going on for so long. I was reading an article the other day about how in America we're currently having more of a mental health crisis than ever before because depression is elevated, anxiety is elevated, and Kelly could probably speak to this as well, but I was saying there's also a crisis among clinicians and therapists because they're also experiencing the same things, but also an influx of clients experiencing these things.
Absolutely. So the stats are people are 3 times more depressed than they were at this point last year in the US, and they are 4 times more anxious than they were. So there's definitely been a spike. The stats are showing it. I know for my fellow clinicians out there, we're definitely feeling it. Not only are we getting more people coming in wanting services, but also the people that we currently work with are experiencing more intense struggles. And so, while I'm here trying to figure out my own, how do I survive COVID? I then have, weeks worth of clients who I'm also trying to support them going through the same thing. And there's a lot of discussion in the therapist community about how do you process an ongoing trauma like this when you yourself are also currently going through it? And there's no good answer other than right now, naps and chocolate probably for me are helping me get through. But yeah, like it's a struggle, and as I like to tell my clients, even as someone who has every tool in the book or in the toolbox, I guess, and I have that advantage, like I'm still tired, I'm still stressed, I still don't really know how to function some of the times. And so just kind of giving yourself some kindness and the permission to not know what to do and to be tired and know that like that's okay.
For a certain perspective on things, and this is something that's as Take This has pivoted over the last almost 9 months towards offering a lot more workshop trainings for studios and people working at home. What we tell everybody in these trainings is to remember you are not working at home. You are not parenting at home. I mean, technically, yes, you are. But what you are trying to find a sense of normalcy in an unprecedented global crisis. And that's something we all need to bear in mind, that this is truly a unique and unprecedented situation where none of us, I can't think of a single person who hasn't lost their sense of normal and routine. So please give yourself some compassion in the process of that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, it's, and we were talking about this earlier, Dr. B. For me, it just took a while longer to feel that because, I do prefer being at home, but, I can't go out grocery shopping without being really cautious, and among other things. So things have definitely changed, and I just knowing that it's okay to be the way we are and feel the way we feel about all of this is a really powerful feeling to feel, because it takes a lot of the stress off of you. I think that it just takes away the what should I do to, okay, yeah, this is what everybody's feeling, so I can take my time in figuring out what I should do. So that's really, really powerful. Thank you. I know that I think it was you, Kelli, who mentioned that there's a lot of stress with the current pandemic with COVID and streamers too.
Yeah, I'm actually currently doing some research on the impact of COVID on streamers, specifically on their mental health. And the data isn't analyzed yet, but we've done a bunch of interviews, and just from the stuff that I've heard, obviously again has not been coded, but just a lot of like, yeah, it's hard. There are more people in my chat needing support than ever before. I have 2 streamers who I spoke to, and I asked them like, well, how frequently is someone in crisis in your stream? And they're saying at least once, probably twice a month, which may not sound very much, but when it used to be maybe once or twice a year, there's definitely an uptick. And you're seeing it across not just the streams and the chats themselves, but the discords that these streamers run. And so there's almost no escape for them sometimes, because there's streams, there's people wanting support, the Discord people are wanting support, and streamers themselves are somewhat disconnected because, we all foster our own communities, which is great, but there's not a lot of ways to support the people who are currently supporting their communities.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like, I think a lot of the other Valkyries attest, but we didn't have a kind of serious discussion or like a venting channel until around COVID started, because we didn't really want or need it. Just it was a lot knowing that we all also don't have spoons all the time, but when everybody is out of spoons, it's time to start talking about the lack of those spoons and figuring out how we can either purchase more or save them better. And I think that having that serious discussion channel in our chat, in our Discord, and also I blatantly, and I will admit this, pulled a bunch of all of the resources that Take This has listed in their channel and just
Great.
plagiarized it all. It's all in there.
Plagiarize it. That's what they're there for.
That's what they're for.
we
Yeah.
have-
You can't
Yeah.
plagiarize a gift.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I just, we took those resources and we put them there, and, holy crap. Holy crap. And we put them there for everybody to use. We have been having donations come in. I haven't been ignoring your donations. I just have not had time to read them. But Bahamut, Krylixi and Duncan Thrax. Thank you so much for all of your donations. I'm excited. We hit 14,000. We did it. That's so much. And it's amazing. Thank you so much, everyone, for your generosity. It's been a crazy year, and this has been a crazy marathon. Speaking of the marathon, we have a lot of not only Valkyries, but volunteers who need to talk a lot about the best practices for self-care. And I think we all of our volunteers and Valkyries would really love to know some more practices that maybe we don't already know, because running a week-long marathon is extremely stressful. So tell us about some of your best self-care practices and a little more about what self-care is.
Well, I think that the two therapists in the channel might have more to say in terms of tangible ideas,
Nope.
but
Not anymore.
Well, when I talk about self-care, I think it's really important. I feel like it's a term that people say a lot, but isn't really defined. And it may seem like an insurmountable, like, oh, I have to start an elaborate meditation practice, or I have to get a journal and journal every day. We know Kelli doesn't journal. We talked about this. But it doesn't have to be, it can be that, absolutely. But it could really be as much as like taking an extra long shower at the end of the day. It's about doing something just for yourself to fill that cup back up, right? Because you can't pour from an empty cup. You have to fill your own cup. It could be playing more Animal Crossing, right? It doesn't have to be something very elaborate and very new and a complete change in your schedule to just give yourself some more spoons.
I like to think about it. Because I'm pedantic, I like to split it into two, as my kind is likened to do. Because to me, there's self-maintenance. Like, these are the things that I need to do just to keep going. And so that's like making sure that I eat a vegetable at least once a day. You know, making sure that I'm getting at least 6 hours of sleep, ideally, at least, if not more. Taking my shower, like just doing the basics of like, this is how I function. And then if I can get that lower level of needs met, then I'm going to look at self-care. Then I'm going to look at stuff like Rachel says that recharges you, that recharges your battery, that refills your cup. It's taken me a really long time to figure out what that is, because I was, doing what I needed to do, but not feeling like rested and recharged. And what I have discovered is that I really enjoy creating things, and creating meaning is one of those things that really does recharge my battery. I'm very, very lucky. I have an adorable 4-year-old who is so excited for Halloween. And even though we can't go trick-or-treating, I have crafted an elaborate scavenger hunt for this tiny human to go through. And like the process of like using my game design skills to like map out like, okay, here's the onboarding process, and here's the scaffolding of difficulty of things, and here's the ultimate goal. And then figuring out, okay, I have foam pumpkins and slime. How do I make this into something fun that he's actually going to want? And then, just having this, and we're going to go through it tomorrow, and I'm really excited. And so instead of like, yeah, I definitely mourned we're not going to be doing trick-or-treating. It's hard. But at the same time, this is pretty darn cool. I have 100 Easter eggs, or I guess they're Beaster eggs. And they're all white, and they're all going to be scattered around the yard. And like, it's going to be fun. And for me, like, I can feel myself being excited to talk about it. I was excited to make it and to design it and to plan it, and I'm going to be delighted to execute it. And so even though for me it is work, it is definitely not like a day at the spa, but that's what recharges my batteries and makes me excited to think about, okay, what comes next?
Yeah, I am not a parent. I probably never will be, but I definitely understand and really associate with this feel of seeing little human beings that you take care of, because I was a kindergarten teacher for 6 years, and feeling rejuvenated and recharged with that. In Japan, so it was a very different experience. It was more like preschool as we know it in the United States, rather than kindergarten. But that is so, bless you, Kelli. That is amazing, and I am excited hearing about this, and I can't wait to hear about Little Human's experience with your creation.
Love it.
I'm gonna love it. That's
There will be
awesome.
pictures.
Dr. B, how about you?
Yeah. So one of the things that we focus on in some of our, like the studio trainings that we offer folks is, first of all, I you know, Dr. Kelly and Dr. Rachel said or alluded to, everybody's needs are different. Okay. There is no one size fits all for self care. But some of the trainings that we offer tend to focus on three areas. One, routine. Okay, creating routines for yourself and others. Now, it doesn't have to be a big elaborate routine like, you manage every 15-minute chunk of your day. Maybe it's just certain things you expect out of the course of a week. Like on Wednesdays at noon, I get teriyaki takeout. Okay, that's something I have to look forward to and something to expect because we've lost a lot of our routines and our expectations. And another one is creativity. There are some research studies on isolation and resilience with Antarctic research teams, and one of the factors that they found in promoting emotional and cognitive resilience is creative tasks, problem solving, like creating a massively cool egg hunt for your kid.
Scavenger hunt? Eggs are only one part of it?
Scavenger hunt. Sorry. For me, it's cooking. I love all things food and drink. So I've gotten back into home brewing beer. I'm now making kombucha for my significant other. I'm cooking almost every night. Basically anything I can do to do something creative and new and vary things up a little bit. But also connection to others. Okay, just because we're isolated doesn't mean we have to lose connection, and that's the beauty of online communities is they can help us find that connection, and feeling accepted and included within a community is a fantastically protective factor against all sorts of psychological, difficulties. So that's really where we put a lot of our trainings focus: creativity, connection, and routine.
I'm sorry if you hear my mom downstairs. She's playing with her dog.
That's
They probably
connection.
hear my children upstairs. So
Yeah.
don't worry.
And that's
Do they want to
perfect.
join us?
Yeah. Thank you so much. I actually sitting here listening to this, and I've been taking notes. If you can't hear my pen clicking in the background, I think the biggest thing that I struggle with self-care, and it's definitely, I didn't know the difference between self-maintenance and self-care. You've blown my mind already today. So I took a note of that and I was like, oh, self-care isn't me eating. That's self-maintenance. Self-care is me eating a little extra and enjoying it. But I think something that a lot of us might struggle with is feeling guilty for self-care. And this is something that has taken me a really long time to both acknowledge and be able to bless you and be able to realize what that is and go, okay, yeah, I feel guilty for doing self-care because I think I've convinced myself that I need to be doing something else, and going, okay, I need to forgive myself. I have to accept that I need this self-care and forgive myself and be nice to myself. And we have a really wonderful community, and I was talking to someone earlier at Railkun who was mentioning that you should say nice things to yourself at least once a day, because it really helps change your mentality, and this helps you accept going from, no, I have to do this, to I need some self-care, and that's okay. So definitely thank you so much, Kelli and Dr. B and Rachel, for giving us these wonderful tips. I'd like to open up the forum for some Q&A. I do see that there's still no questions on Twitter, so oh no, we have a question on Twitter, which I will get to now. While we wait for some questions in chat, I encourage you to use the highlight my message function using channel points, because it's going to make it easier for us to see your questions. But let's get here. So alright, so I've often supported a close friend in the past few years who struggled with mental health for a long time. Though I haven't done well enough to keep better care for myself in mind, I often think of myself as empathetic to a fault, and I'm not sure how to balance things better.
Okay. So I wish I could claim this statement as my own, but it is not. But the statement is empathy without boundaries is self-destruction. So like, if you are a giving person, if you are an empathic person, if, you know, the character on Star Trek you identify most with is Deanna Troi, even though you really want to be a Riker, you really understand that you would be Deanna Troi. It's important to know that, like, you need to have boundaries. There need to be walls. Walls are important. They keep us safe. They keep us secure. Have a drawbridge, you know, so people can come in and go, but that you get to control that access. And so if you're feeling, I mean, I don't think they really mentioned specifically how they were feeling, but, you know, if you're feeling drained supporting someone, like, it's okay to take time for yourself. And if you yourself are looking for help from someone else, one of the best tips I could give you is ask that person's permission if you can vent to them. I know both Rafa and Rachel here, I've gone, hey, do you guys have spoons? Can I borrow one of your spoons? Because I really need to share something. And most of the time they say yes. Sometimes it's like, nope, I got my own stuff going on. And it's like, oh, okay, good. And so that way, I mean, it comes back to consent, it comes back to boundaries, and it comes back to respecting that everyone is going to be in their own place at different times. And it's okay to not be that rock for everyone all the time, because eventually you're going to burn out. Yeah. So that goes, again, back to the self-care. Like, you know, you have to take care of yourself first. Otherwise, you can't help anybody else. Or you won't be doing it well.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Nope. Well, and there are also times, and this is something that we said a lot through the course of my doctoral training, is that taking someone's pain from them and making it yours all the time is actually doing them a disservice. And it can eventually lead to you doing them a disservice because, one, you can burn yourself out. Compassion fatigue is a thing. But on top of that, we all become stronger through certain levels of challenges. Now, sometimes we need help to get through those challenges, but we still need to be the ones to get through those challenges. And if you are essentially, as one of my supervisors used to say, responsible for instead of responsible to, then it ends up doing both of you a disservice in the end.
Thank you.
Got chills with that statement. That was
we did.
I got chills with that statement. And just to add one more thing, because you were talking about feeling guilty, and I think that a lot of times it's easy to feel guilty if you're not there for your friends 100% all the time, even when you know you don't have spoons. But you can't give from an empty cup, or you won't be effective.
Right.
Won't be effective. So you don't want to push yourself at that point.
Yeah. And I think too, coming from the receiving end of, you know, someone who is receiving the favor of being able to vent, you need to be able to appreciate the fact that not everybody can always be there. And I know that it's difficult, and especially if you have anxiety like I do, it's taken me years to get over the fact that, like, no, this person doesn't want to hang out with me because they hate me, they just don't have time, or, you know, whatever. So having that clear communication and initiating that clear communication. If you're afraid that you know, your friend isn't listening to you because you've upset them, asking them, you know, hey, Rachel, you don't want to talk to me because I upset you, and then just having them and believing them when they affirm to you, no, it's not that at all.
Believing them is key.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we have a question from chat. Zoom Waffle asks, sometimes I don't feel like I have enough spoons to undertake the things I do for self-care, whether it be video games or reading. Mostly it leads to me doing nothing, which I feel worse about in the aftermath. Do you have any advice?
I've got so there's a fantastic book called Zen and the Martial Arts, and the author was a student of Bruce Lee. And if you've never read any of Bruce Lee's writing, I highly encourage you to. It's brilliant. He talked to Bruce about one of his students talked to them about doing something on a given day. And Bruce's response was, no, that's my day to do nothing. And well, how about a phone call? No, that would be doing something, and that day is my day for doing nothing. Well, what about lunch? No, that's my day for doing nothing. And this concept wasn't really resonating with him. And he asked, but why do you take an entire day to do nothing? And Bruce explained to his students that doing nothing is not an absence of things. It's actually doing something, but moreover than that, it's like a pause in music. Okay? As much as some of us might like really hard driven pounding music that has no stops is kind of boring. That pause adds to the completeness of that music. And so by doing nothing to restore whatever it is you need to do, you are in fact actively doing something.
That's a much more eloquent way of what I was going to say, which was just like, you're not wasting a day, you're powering your week. So
I love that though. That's beautiful too.
That's snappier. That's, this is just our different styles. You've got these great like Hallmark, you can take it anywhere phrases. And there I am in the back, like, gather round ye children and I shall tell ye a tale.
It takes all kinds.
I love it. And this is why we're happy to have all of you here, because, one message might not necessarily resonate with a certain type of people and another will. And I think it's beautiful to have both of you here. And, going back to what I had said, forgive yourself. It's okay. It really is. It's okay to take a day to do nothing. I do it all the time now because I know that's what I need. And I know that feeling. I know it so well. Feeling guilty about not doing anything, where you're like, I could at least be playing a video game. That should be low maintenance. It's okay. You don't have to do anything with it.
The world's in a constant state of attrition. You're always missing doing something. I mean,
yeah. All right. So we have a question from Raving Sock Monkey, and I believe this is about concerning COVID. I know people in my personal and professional life that aren't taking things as seriously as needed. I have to be careful about what I say to them because work, but it also causes me more anxiety and depression. Do you have any recommendations for dealing with this in a healthy manner?
Oh, he had to throw in the word healthy. Crap.
Yeah, Kelly's solutions might be a little more jarring than you're ready for. But.
Well, I'll just say this is kind of personal. My family is very Republican. Very, very Republican. And, not all into the mask wearing or that everyone deserves life. So, just last week, my grandmother told me that I was, I should be ashamed of myself and that I'm a terrible granddaughter. So I muted her on Facebook. So I don't know if that is healthy. I was definitely, Citizen Kelly in that, not Dr. Kelly in that. But you know what? My feed is a lot more peaceful and I'm a lot less stressed because grandma's interesting takes are not filling up my feed, but she still gets to see her great grandson when I post stuff. So for me, it's trying to avoid the all or nothing. Like I either can block grandma or I have to deal with this, as opposed to, okay, what's something I can do in the middle to where I can kind of preserve my sense of integrity and what's important to me and preserve my values while also not having to feel like someone else's stuff is being pushed on me. And again, it's going to be completely Sock Monkey based on your situation. Like my grandma's in California. I don't ever see her. And so I can do that. And if it's someone like in your personal life, that's going to be more difficult. But I feel like the theme we keep coming back to is like boundaries. If someone makes you feel uncomfortable and like if you say the wrong thing, you're going to get in trouble or yelled at, that's at least not a healthy relationship. And so figuring out if if we just don't talk about this, I'm happy to chill with you and hang out, but if this comes up, it's done. They might yell or whatever, but at the end of the day, that's a healthy boundary that you need in order to function. And if someone won't respect something you need in order to function, then they really, I don't want to say don't deserve access to you because no one deserves access, but I don't have a better word. Maybe B does, because as the artist, the word artist in the room, maybe he can.
No one is entitled to your time.
Thank you. See, words. Smart words.
I was like, you have more school than I do.
It's only 7 years of grad school. Jeez.
Only
You're more than I
7.
do. But if it's a work concern, then work concerns. I this tells you how mercenary I can be, because think about who you're talking to and speak their language. All right, what are their concerns about things? If I'm going to bring something up with, let's say, HR at a place that I work, I'm going to talk to them about liability, because they definitely care about liability. And if other people are acting in a way that puts me at risk while I'm on the job, that puts the company at risk while I'm on the job. And so one of the ways I might do is, if I've got a manager that I trust, first I'm going to bring my concerns about other people's behavior to them and see if we can't find a solution. Maybe it's remote work, maybe it's mandating more stringent health precautions. I don't know. But that's if I have a manager that I trust. If I don't have a manager that I trust, then I'm going to go to someone with authority at work that I do trust. And that's either, in most places, that's human resources. And then I'm going to bounce out of there and not socialize with anybody and go do my own thing.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. Coming from the standpoint of a manager at a workplace, I definitely would hope that you have a manager you can trust. If not, I hope that there really is someone you can trust. Always trust human resources, because it's literally their job to fix this stuff. But coming to, I know, Dr. B, I know.
What did I do? What the who now?
Yeah, no, you just kind of rolled your eyes. You're like, oh god, I hope so.
No, I was looking up at the chat. I was looking up. I wasn't being sarcastic. No.
Okay, no, it's okay.
I was
All
about
right,
to
now I
praise Raving Sock Monkey.
Yes, praise Raving Sock Monkey. But
It's like a religion.
something that does resonate with, and this is coming from a really kind of like what resonates with people who are business people, impact. Like Dr. B was saying, if you can tell them exactly how this impacts your inability to work and how that's going to, what kind of consequences that's going to have for the company, they're going to listen to you. So you say, this is XYZ behavior. This is how it's causing me not to be able to do my work. And I think these are the options that are possible there, and like Dr. B, literally what Dr. B was saying, the behavior, the impact, and the options there. If you give those things up, usually, and if you sound pretty calm about it, they're probably going to listen more likely than not.
Speak bureaucrat.
Yeah, speak bureaucrat. It's true, and it's a language that you have to know.
Burn it down. Sorry, what?
Oh yeah, burn it down is also an option.
Where did that come from?
What?
All right, instead
Sorry,
that.
so Dr.
Take
B,
this
what
does
were you?
not endorse arson or any sort of property destruction.
Please don't do that for real. If you do, don't do it in the name of Take This. Dr. B, what were you going to praise there from Sock Monkey?
Well, basically for one, enduring through an obviously uncomfortable situation and continuing to maintain employment in this, again, unprecedented time, and also having the wherewithal to ask people. Reaching out for help is a fantastic skill on its own. People characterize it as, weakness. Yeah, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. No. Reaching out for help is a skill, and it's a good one.
I love that.
Rachel, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, when it comes to, I also come from a family that doesn't believe in masks, but I find that my anxiety has been really high with COVID, and the best way for me to mitigate that anxiety is just by me following all the rules and kind of playing along with what Kelly said. Like, I go on walks with my neighbors in the evening, and as COVID became more of a hotspot in the particular city I live in, I said, I don't really feel comfortable, even though we're outside, can we wear masks? And they all said yes. Now, if they said no, do they really care about my well-being? It's kind of what Kelly said. If they can't, concede to, like, I feel uncomfortable, can you make this one small concession for me, which is the rule anyway? And they say no, then I mean, just keep your distance, more than just your COVID distance. Keep the emotional distance from those people.
And you can always say like, okay, well then I don't feel comfortable going. You don't have to.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. There's no reason to like, if you're afraid of burning bridges there, then be like, okay, well then, yeah. Thank you, everyone. So I have a question here from Brigandarth. I'm pretty sure I've been running on negative spoons for a decade or so. I was apparently born with a "talk to me" sign above my head, and I love helping people, but I can't seem to say no. Knowing Bregan personally, she is very, very easy to talk to, and Bregan, this is one of the reasons why I don't always reach out to you. I love you.
Repeat after me.
I was waiting for this,
Kelli. No. And if it helps, think about the one that's spelled K-N-O-W. So whether you are saying no and they hear no as in do not do this thing, or no as in you should know better not to do this thing. Just no.
One of the things I like to focus on when I'm trying to basically set boundaries with people, both professionally and personally, is focusing on what I can do. And maybe what I can do is talk to them later. Maybe what I can do is give them somebody else to talk to because I'm busy right now. Maybe what I can do is say, hey, let's set up a time to chat about this next week. Oh, about to be interrupted by a dog. Oh, but I don't know. Should we show?
Of course.
When is a dog not? Like,
I mean, the answer is always yes.
I mean, thank you, chat. Thank you. As if that was ever. Oh.
Hi, Chloe.
Hi, Chloe. Oh,
So pure.
cute.
We're letting her out. Oh no, we're not.
That's some self-care right there.
Yes. Dog kisses.
Little
Very
hot
good
dog.
Hi, Chloe. She didn't want to stay with me. She wants to go back to the person who feeds her more.
I mean, same, but you know.
Yeah. So when it comes to personal boundaries, I like to focus on what I can do, even if it's I can talk to you next week. And that seems to she does need to go out. Say hi to ADHD, everybody.
Hi.
Dog retrieval.
And I guess one more hot tip I would throw out there, other than just no, is like take a second and think about what future you would want. I have a hard time saying no. I know it's ridiculous. But I think about, okay, past Kelli is way too optimistic about what future Kelli is going to be able to manage. And so I need to think as present Kelli. What does future Kelli want? Would future Kelli be happy taking on another job? Oh, that's hard. And I don't always know the answer, but it's also a matter of, okay, you know, where am I at right now? And if this is a more long-term thing, is my future self going to be glad that I made this decision? And if not, then maybe I should, you know, if I can't do it for myself right now, maybe I can do it for future Kelli.
What about you, Ray?
But I want to do all the projects.
They said it so well. Yes,
But I want to
know.
do all the
I
projects.
shared a flow chart. the other day that said, "Do you want to have a new project? Do you have time?" And it was like, "Yes," and it was like, "No, you don't. You don't." The answer is no.
I love it.
Or get yourself a friend who will tell you no.
I'll do that
Yeah,
for you.
someone-
I'll do that for you, Bregan. I will do that for you.
We have one of our staff at Take This named Katrina. She is
She'll tell
the
you
no queen. And she's like, sometimes I feel bad about stomping on dreams. I'm like, no. You know, you're surrounded by dreamers and people who can't scope to save their lives. Please say no. Our future selves will thank you for it.
Oh, Katrina saves me so much headache.
Yeah.
I have this idea that I came up with spontaneously while I was standing on my head. No.
She doesn't even want to hear it. The answer is just no.
It's like, no.
But it's in the budget. No.
No.
No. I love
I
Katrina.
love it. All right, so we have a question here from Tempest Mass. Something that put pressure in my life as of recent is balancing my newfound love for speedrunning with what I need to do since my folks, no offense to them of course, have been on my back for a long time now, like applying for a job since the impromptu end to the paid internship because of the shutdown. I understand them not wanting me to stay in the house and do nothing given my age, and yet I worry about opting to contribute to these events and doing what I love, yet being too busy.
So I'm just going to challenge that speedrunning is doing nothing because it's really hard. It's really hard. So just going to reframe that little bit right there. Like, you are doing something. Just because we live in a society that tells you that that particular activity doesn't have the productive value that it wants from you does not mean that that is not productive for you. In terms of we have to continue to live in that society, that's a tough situation to be in. Like, food's got to happen. Typically, money is a constraint. And so if you're able to find some kind of balance, I heard you were at the paid internship. It's a really tough position. I don't even think I have a lot of great advice other than, put what you love and put time into it, and then see what it will take in order for you to continue to do that, but also work. And so you may not be speedrunning as much as you wish you could, but maybe there's a way to find a balance. And maybe that's like, working at a job part-time that requires very little brain power for whatever reason. And so you can like doodle, jumps and cutscenes and stuff and practice your splits in your brain. Like, there's ways to make it work. There's not anything that's going to be ideal. And so finding something that's good enough, or at least trying to find that balance. Yeah, like you said, it's a balance that, I don't know, you guys, I'm babbling now because
you're talking about something that for anybody out there who might watch What's Good Games, Brittany Brombacher of What's Good Games was on a panel we did a couple years ago about making it within the game industry. And she described exactly what you were talking about, and where when she started up her channel, turning it into a viable career path, she was working a job just to get by while she built her viewership up. And there became, after a while of really honing her craft and getting as good, I mean, she's really fantastic to watch on camera. She's a wonderful host. And she got to this critical point where she couldn't work on her channel anymore or grow it without giving up her job. But her channel was actually, supportive enough that she could do that and then start growing it even further. And now it's her full-time gig. That's more or less what I did with Take This way back when. I had a side gig back when we were super, super teeny tiny, smaller than we are now, and they couldn't afford to pay me. And I had side hustles that I did up until the point where we grew enough that now I'm in my dream job and I don't have to do other jobs. It's amazing. So finding, like Kelly said, finding that balance point to do what you love while still meeting your needs, that's a fantastic goal.
Yeah, and I think that's a really healthy perspective on it. You need to know what you need to do and be able to that's for adult you, right? Knowing that you have to do this and that's what you need in order to eat, keep a head above your roof, but also knowing what makes you happy. When I first started speedrunning, I was running around all of Japan doing substitute teacher work, which I did not enjoy because I don't like being on the train most of my day. But what I did do in order to occupy that time was exactly what Kelly was talking about, thinking about the splits. That was a way that, I had it on my phone, but when I was walking around, I couldn't look at it. So I would try and remember the route for the game I was learning and be like, okay, I would go there, I'd go there, that's next. a head above your roof, that's not a good idea. It's a wonderful idea. So, just doing that with your time while, for example, like, if you're working a job where you need to be like present, please don't do that. Don't cut your fingers off if, you're working in construction or something. But, knowing like when you can do that and then thinking about those kinds of things when you're working or going to work or coming from work, is really, really good. And I think a healthy way. I got off on it. I ended up rambling because I got distracted.
Makes sense.
Great. You have anything to add, Rachel?
No, I think, find a job that can, in theory, incorporate some of the things that you love. I have a similar story to Dr. B, where I bullied my way in to take this, and now and now I have a job that I really love. But it started out, had a different path. I had a more academic path, but I was still doing research, which is what I was trained in. And so it sounds like you have an internship, so you are trained in something specific. So maybe that can open up a path into something that allows you more time to also do the things that you love.
Yeah, it's really great.
I'm going to point out that her bullying her way in to take this was just going to our boss and saying, "Hey, so here's an idea I have. I can help you with that." And our boss was like, "Hey, that's a good idea." And with the rest,
Join
of us,
us.
like, "Hey, that's a good idea."
Well, okay. It took initiative. But yeah.
I love it. We have a question from Claire. I have struggled myself with understanding boundaries of other people. I tend to reach out for help from friends, but have sometimes been told that they're not my therapist. I feel like there are some unwritten rules in groups that I keep overstepping, and it's really frustrating to where I question if I'm a toxic person or there's something wrong with me. Dr. B, I feel like this is a really good question for you.
Well, and that's, first of all, a really courageous thing to say. That it shows a lot of self-reflection. And my first recommendation to anybody who's doing that level of self-reflection is go talk to a therapist. And the cool thing is, I actually just found, we just added this to Take This's website. There is a whole search engine that can identify sliding scale and free therapy options by geographical location. So if you don't have insurance or if money's a little tight, there are some available options out there, because licensed mental health professionals are really good at helping people work through some of this stuff. And there could be any number of reasons. I can't speculate as to what's going on for you, but they can help you out directly. And that's what folks like Kelli do.
Can confirm. I am a licensed therapist. I mean, I kind of feel like if you're reaching out, I mean, one, I can't imagine telling someone I'm not your therapist. Like, I am a therapist, and I can't imagine telling that to someone. Like,
Dismissive.
Yeah. And so I think I mean, again, I don't know your situation. I would never presume to make like any kind of clinical anything, but I'll put on my community manager hat at the moment. And if someone was saying, hey, this person, like, I don't feel like I'm being heard. I feel like I'm being rejected. I feel like this is not an environment where I can share what's going on for me. The question that I would be wondering is, okay, one, obviously safety, first things first. And then second, okay, maybe what you need isn't in this spot. Like if you're going to the TV thread and you're talking about movies, again, that's probably a really bad example. But yeah, maybe these are not the people you should be talking to. Maybe they're really good friends. Maybe they're really, really good friends, but they have the emotional intelligence of a coconut. Who knows? And so it's about finding a space where you feel like you can share what's on your mind and not have to worry about whether or not someone's going to say something really snarky, like, I'm not your therapist. And yeah, unfortunately that like puts more work on you, which sucks. But I know at least for a lot of clinicians like myself, there are so many online groups and support networks and like just informal meeting spaces where people are sharing what's going on with them, because it's really, really hard right now. And so, yeah, it'd be nice if all of our friends could just listen and help us and validate how we feel, which does not take a clinician to do. It is important though. But yeah, if you're not getting your needs met from them, and in fact they are like pushing you away, then that doesn't really sound like a safe place for you to be sharing your feelings, which I hope is okay for me to say, because that's assuming a lot and putting a lot out there. But yeah.
Well, there are definitely friends who I wouldn't trust with certain things. I trust them to do fun things with, but not with my feelings.
Right, and there's spaces and people for every time and place. And I do think that also speaking to a professional might help provide even more insight if this seems to be a recurring event that is distressing to you.
Coconuts are disgusting, by the way, Count Gooby. I'm just gonna put it out there. I don't care if they have feelings.
Coconuts are delicious.
Coconuts are revolting. The texture,
Send your coconuts
taste?
to me.
No.
So good.
No.
Coconut-based beverages.
No, definitely not. Don't you put it near chocolate. Don't you do that.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Definitely
I
doing that.
I love this. So
Yes,
I don't have
Dot
another...
Phase. Dot Phase is on my team. Sorry, go ahead.
We don't have another question from chat, but I would like to bring this up. I know it's hard to find a therapist, and currently I'm in like a situation where I'm like, I'm not sure if I like my therapist, and I would like to maybe if you doctors here could give us your thoughts on how should people go about finding a therapist? And I know there's a flowchart. I've seen it on the therapist website, but I'd love for us to talk about it.
So you're asking us, how do you dump your therapist?
Yes.
That's the question.
It's not you,
Okay.
it's me.
Listen, Kelly. We need to talk.
Okay, what's going on?
It's not you. I think it's me. I think we should end. I can't say it with the seriousness. But really, how would you go
Okay.
about that? Sorry, I couldn't.
I mean,
couldn't do it with
I
a
will.
straight face.
From the therapist perspective, please tell them. Like, if you feel safe to do that, I am always incredibly appreciative of if someone's telling me like, yeah, I don't know if this is working, and they could be talking about a specific thing. Maybe we're doing CBT and it's not working for them. Maybe they think that I'm too loud or obnoxious or my hair is too red or whatever it is. But as I always try and tell them, like, I'm a psychologist, not a psychic. And so if something's not working for you, I may catch it, but I also may not, because I'm a human being. And so if something ever happens and this is what I tell people at the start of therapy, if something ever happens where either you don't feel like I'm understanding, whether I've missed the point, whether we are not on the same plane or we're talking past each other, please tell me, because then I can fix it. And then we can try something new. And if it's still not working, then I can help you find someone else. And I always say that therapy is kind of like dating, and that sometimes you have to, swipe right a few times before you find somebody that's a good fit. Hopefully it's someone right off the bat, but it's not always the case. And so when I'm going about it, I don't think I've ever had a client break up with me. They've either just ghosted or they've graduated. And so like, if you don't feel comfortable telling your therapist, ghost them. Like, they'll get over it. They've got their big kid pants on. Like, if you need to go, you go. But if you're like, I like them, but I just don't know, let them know. Because one of two things is going to happen. Either they're going to change. They're going to validate and say, thank you so much for telling me. This way I can change and try something else. And if I can't do that, then I'm going to connect you with someone who can. Or they're going to go, well, that's just resistance and you're just being obtuse and I don't see it that way. And then you really know that that is not a good place for you to be. Because any therapist who is a good, decent therapist is going to take that feedback and go, oh, okay, cool. Thank you for telling me. Let me see how I can adjust. So if you're going to break up with your therapist, one, if you feel safe doing so, maybe bring it to their attention that something isn't quite going the way you want it to. Or two, if the therapist has done something that that you just like don't want to see their faces again, like invalidate, your pronouns, or, just say something incredibly misogynistic, you certainly do not owe them anything. Drop them and just get out.
Yeah. One of the things. Oh,
no,
please
go ahead. I was just going to say, I've
Sure.
never met a therapist who would not be open to that conversation. And if they're not open to that conversation, then you ghost them.
I've definitely met some therapists who were not open to that conversation.
They should.
I've been
A
on
good
the receiving
therapist
end.
should be open. A good therapist should be
Yeah,
open to that, right, B? Yeah.
Absolutely. And one of the things to bear in mind is that a good chunk of the therapeutic process has to do with personality fit. Back during my training days, there were a lot of folks in the facilities that I worked with, that I worked at, that our personalities were just not a good fit. Now, I would try and do my best to try and find a better fit for them, but like Dr. Kelly said, I tried to have my big kid pants on as much as possible and recognize that maybe there's just a conflict of personalities here. Maybe my style isn't good a fit for them. Maybe I'm just not reading their needs enough, because I'm human and I process things differently. And so a good therapist ethically is supposed to have your interests at heart. And I think of it kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons game. Not every table is a good fit for everybody, but a good DM is going to try and push you in the direction of a table that is a good fit for you. So, like Dr. Kelly said, if you feel comfortable enough, bring it up with them, gauge their response, and honestly, if their response works for you, that may be an even better sign, because that is there's research that holds this idea that relationships don't grow in the absence of conflict, they grow in the resolution of it. So your relationship may even deepen if you're able to resolve it in a way that works for you, the client, which is party bonus. But it takes a lot of bravery and trust and vulnerability to bring that up, and if you don't feel comfortable enough doing that, ghost them.
It's thank you. This is actually a really good conversation, especially for me too, because I was actually thinking. So thank you so much, Dr. B.
Can I throw something else out there?
Go ahead.
Because if you're ditching your therapist, you're going to need to find a new one, likely. And so, hot tips on finding a good therapist. One, word of mouth is like the best. If you have got a friend and they've gone and said, "Oh, that person's great," or "That person's trash," like, those are literally the best endorsements you can find. The next one is, most therapists, they may not advertise it, but they will give you 15 minutes for a consult. And it is free. And so you can call them and you can ask your questions and you can see how they operate and you can kind of figure out whether or not you're going to gel with them.
What kind of questions are good questions to ask?
Oh, geez. So I'm trying. Sorry, I'm like going through my brain here. If you've been in therapy before, you probably have an idea of what works for you and what doesn't. If you know that CBT doesn't work for you, maybe you're going to try and find someone who isn't CBT oriented. And if they do CBT, ask them what else. So you can ask them, like, what kind of stuff, what kind of disorders do they typically work with? Because if you have an anxiety issue, but they treat depression, it's not that they can't treat you, but they might not be a good fit. 2, look into what kind of style. Even if you don't know the words to ask, you can ask them. Like, so is this like in the movies where I lay down on the couch and I just tell you all of my feelings? And they'll probably go, "Oh, no. I practice from this orientation." And so either hopefully a good therapist would explain what that means. If not, you can always go and look it up as well. Or they might say, "Yes, that's what I do." And if so, you are with a psychoanalytic oriented person. Asking
old
questions
school
about
like that.
Very old school. Asking about fees, like, how much do you charge? Do you take insurance? Do you offer sliding scale? Especially with being telemedicine now, will you do in-office visits after the pandemic, or will you continue online? Because for a lot of people, I don't know about other clinicians out there, but I've got people who live 100 miles from me who I'm seeing now, which is one of the reasons I love telehealth. But there's no way I could continue as their therapist if when we go into the post times and we're seeing people in person again, like, you're not just going to drop them. And yeah, just like being very honest with the questions that you have. Now, if you haven't been to a therapist before, that first phone call is probably one of the scariest things that you'll ever do, is to pick up the phone. Chances are it's going to go to voicemail. My phone goes straight to voicemail, typically because I'm either with clients or we screen our calls, because that's a safety thing. And then if you're talking with them and either their caseload is full or you're not a good fit, it's totally okay to ask them for a recommendation, because we talk. Us therapists, we're like tight knit. We know everybody's business that's going on in the therapy world, and we'll be able to find somebody who's a good fit for you that can, like if you need a specific kind of insurance, we can reach out to our networks and help make that happen. So keep in mind that if you contact a psychologist or a therapist, you are interviewing them as much, probably more, than they're interviewing you.
Beautiful.
They work for you. Please remember that. The power differential may feel in their favor, because in a lot of respects it is, as hierarchically and all that. But please remember, the therapist works for you. You pay them to do you a service.
Exactly.
It's like cutting your hair.
So we're going to take this last question. We're actually a little over, but that's okay, because in typical Valkyrie marathon style, we usually save a bunch of time. So let's go ahead and take this last question from Shubinator. Hey, panel. I have a question for you guys, and I'm hoping I'm not out of scope when I do. What are your recommendations for people who are friends/family with those on the spectrum who have ADHD?
Oh, this is a Dr. B question.
I didn't want to assume, like, I don't ever like to pigeonhole
It's a
people,
Dr. B
but
question.
yeah. Go
All
for
the
it.
It's Dr.
autism
B.
questions go to the guy with autism.
It says ADHD as well.
It does.
ADHD.
Those are two specialties of yours. Just saying.
Well, ADHD is definitely not one of my specialties, but I live with someone who it is.
Yes.
I think it's more about that kind of experience that you have with
What I would say is that, and this is not just with autism, ADHD, any neurodiversity diagnoses. This is with all diagnoses. All right. There is no one example of a given diagnosis. The example I like to bring up all the time is that there's 9 symptoms in the DSM for major depressive disorder, of which you must meet 5 or more. Somebody once did the math for me, and it was something like 54,000 different combinations of major depressive disorder. There's 5 different domains of impact for PTSD. You think about it, any diagnosis is a collection of similar types of behaviors. So nobody experiences or manifests any diagnosis the same way. So what I say to friends and family is ask them how they experience things in a caring and compassionate way, not to judge them, but to learn. So for me, talking about my autism, and folks with autism and in a lot of cases ADHD as well, have very different cognitive profiles and abilities. As y'all saw How to ADHD earlier, she has a fantastic example with Dungeons and Dragons to say we're the min-maxers in terms of our ability scores. My wisdom score may not be so great, but my intelligence score is. And while most people have kind of a flat line, those of us with autism tend to be up, down, up, down, up, down. So ask in a compassionate way about how things manifest for them. For me, I'm very sensitive to auditory input, to smells, which is great for when I'm cooking. But also to light. There's a reason I remain in Seattle. I hate being in hot weather. And accepting their I don't want to say limitations, but their limits without judgment and just as a thing, that goes so far, at least with me, for someone to just accept that, okay, Dr. B doesn't do direct sunlight. It makes him grumpy. Dr. B doesn't like being in crowds. I have to sleep. I have to get sleep. My cognitive and emotional ability to regulate goes wonky if I don't sleep. But knowing what I can and can't do with kindness, compassion, and non-judgment, that goes so far. And I would say that works with other diagnoses as well. Just learn what they can and can't do on a personal level and roll with that.
I think what I'd add to that is, we always talk about being an ally. As, I do not have ADHD, I do not have autism, so, I might say, well, I'm an ally. Allies are passive. Like, it means that I'm not actually going to, tell you you're dumb or something. But like our friend Tanya DePass, whose stream name is Cypher of Tear, she always tells people to be an advocate. Whereas an ally is passive, an advocate is someone who is actively supporting and helping. And the example that I would like to use is like when Dr. B is at a convention as someone who doesn't like crowds. And for me, as someone who can handle crowds, I take it upon myself with his consent and permission, because that is key, to become his keeper. And Rachel and I do this. Sarah, when she's around, we do this too. We're like, have you eaten? Have you had water? It's too crowded here. Let's move. Not, are you okay? Do we need to move? No, we're moving.
So, you show up with a cup of coffee at 10 and at 2. Yes. Yep. Do that.
Oh my God, they're not wrong. The volunteers and staff members are actually giving care. They're given care and feeding instructions for me. Because one of the things they know is that I deal with something called alexithymia, where I can't actually tell with a lot of accuracy what I'm feeling, and so I don't know when I'm hungry until it's far too late.
Yeah.
Or if I'm overwhelmed or whatever until I crash.
Mm-hmm. So you show up for your friends, and you might not get it right the first time, but that's why conversation and consent is super important. And the thing is, they'll do the same for you. If I was in a situation the other day, I was panicking. I was like, I can't do this. Oh my God, my brain's not working. And I messaged B and I was like, here is 500 slides. How do I make this into something that is coherent? And he's like, oh, boop, boop, there you go. And so just know, no one is functioning on the perfect PC in their brain. We all have strengths. We all have weaknesses. So supporting one another. Some of us are on Linux, yes. But being active in that and knowing what they need, because you're asking and you're listening and you're paying attention, and then stepping up to whatever that is for them without assuming you know what they need, because that's really important too.
Thank you so much for all of that, and I just want to leave you all with that conversation in mind, that love is not a one-way street. It's got to go both ways. It's just you pushing your feelings onto someone else. So if they're friends, if they're family, if you care about them, of course you're going to ask them, and then you're going to see what they need from you in return, and how you can make that relationship work both.
Yeah, like they say, if you're an introvert, find yourself an extrovert to adopt you.
Mm-hmm.
At least in the convention scene, that works. And if you're an extrovert, find an introvert to adopt you while you're at home during COVID.
Yep. Yeah. Definitely. I've actually done that at I'm well known for becoming the puppy who follows someone around at a convention, because I can't be alone. I hate it. It's the crowds. They just make me feel like everybody's staring at me. It doesn't work for me. So I definitely understand how you feel there. Well, I am sad to say that is all the time we have, but excited to say that we have more exciting things coming up next. But I did want to read these donations while the three of you are here. We didn't get any new ones in, but we had $50 from Bahamedex about an hour ago that said, when I first saw Myst as a kid, I thought the graphics were so amazing. It's really cool to see it in Speedrun. Krylexy donated $50 with no comment, but that's $50 going to an amazing cause. And we talked with Dr. Kowert a couple days ago about how it's not only funding AFK rooms, but electricity, other water, sewage, trash. What else do you have to pay just to keep things running? Paying the workers because the organization itself does not make a profit. So you are, if you like these three wonderful people here, you are helping to support them as well. And then we have $96 from Duncan Thrax with just a smiley face. Thank you so much, all of you, and everybody who has donated up until now. So there is $1,000 until Take This has a 24-hour stream.
I don't remember agreeing to that, but I guess I have agreed to that.
We were all
I was not part of
really
that
punchy in that
conversation.
meeting.
Yeah, I mean,
left?
it'll happen. It'll happen. We're all committed now.
It was like 9 o'clock in the evening for both of you. We were real punchy in that meeting.
We've already met designing a bow tie for the lovely Dr. B. I'm excited to see that. One of you who has donated is going to get that. And there's the collective hair dye that we've won. How about this? Just to raise the stakes, I'm sure some of the Valkyries will jump on ship here with me. If you meet 15K, not only do you get a 24-hour stream, I will also dye my hair. Whatever color
Ooh.
staff has to dye their hair.
Yes.
Ooh.
How about we
And
dye our
sleeves.
hair? Can we dye it orange? How's that?
I think we had
Kelly.
I want emerald blue. I mean sapphire blue.
and we have 4 colors. There's blue, purple, green, and pink. So I'm excited for that. And then finally, from the Take This side, because I know the Valkyries, we haven't necessarily given you our stretch goals yet. Sorry. Not sorry. At 20,000, Dr. B is going to dress up as Pink Freud. So here
Very
we have
excited
the
for
wonderful
this.
Dr. B. There's, I believe there was there a pink hat that was coming in with a pink, I can't remember.
No, I don't wear pink hats because I just look like a Pepto-Bismol commercial.
But pink beard, right? Pink beard.
No, pink
hair.
beard, pink hair. I think
Pink
I have
eyebrows.
I have a very nice window pane and lavender suit that I can do with that.
So, and of course,
He'll
COVID
speak in
times,
his
we're
German.
not sending.
Oh yeah, my
Speaking
bad
of-
Austrian. My very
Austrian.
bad Austrian.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Then safe times in COVID. We're not sending Dr. B out to get new pink things and look Pepto-Bismol-y. So thank you, everyone. I believe that's actually all for me with my hosting shift. Or am I up next? I don't. Who am I and what am I doing? Okay, yeah. So next up, we're gonna have RPG Chick. Thank you again, everybody, for watching, for listening, and lurking to this wonderful panel. Thank you for all of the questions and the support. And we'll see you after the restreamers week.
Thank you all
Bye,
so much.
everyone.
Thank you.